The iPhone 15 Pro Max ditches the stainless steel sides for a titanium design, and it's a big deal. Why? Because the space-age Grade 5 titanium Apple uses is stronger yet lighter. Yes, it's the same titanium used on the Mars rover. The natural titanium color has grown on me thanks to its sci-fi vibe. The blue titanium is nice though, and you can pick up the phone in silver and black as well. The iPhone 15 Pro Max weighs 7.8 ounces compared to 8.5 ounces for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I really notice the difference when I have the phone in my hand and in my pocket. The new Pro Max is also more compact, measuring 6.29 by 3.02 by 0.32 inches versus 6.33 by 3.05 by 0.31 inches before. So while the new iPhone is a tad thicker, it's easier to use with one hand. It's the first big screen iPhone that doesn't feel like one. The iPhone 15 Pro Max feels better too because of the contoured design. The edges are rounded and less sharp, so they dig into your hands less. Yes, the ringer switch is dead. The action button replaces it, and it's one of the best and also most frustrating things about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But let me start with the good news. The button still silences calls with a long press if you have the silent mode setting assigned. But in the Settings app, you can configure the action button to do all sorts of things, including launching the camera, voice recorder, flashlight, translate, and more. And you can even pick specific actions from within an app, like launching straight into a selfie. If you want even more options, the action button works in sync with the Shortcuts app, so you can assign it to launch any app you want with a long press, or create shortcuts to do things like message a specific contact, which is nice to have when I want to let the family know I'm on the way or running late. My problem with the action button is that it supports only one function at a time. So if you want to launch the camera, you can't use it to also mute calls. My advice to Apple would be to let people perform app shortcuts with a double press and keep the long press for silent mode. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has USB-C charging, and it's about time. Apple has finally retired the Lightning port after over a decade, which they are clearly being forced to do against their will due to EU regulations. But I do appreciate not having to carry around an extra cable just to charge my iPhone, since so many of my daily devices use USB-C. With this port, you can also charge your other Apple gadgets, including the newly upgraded AirPods Pro with USB-C charging case. If you want to transfer photos and videos quickly to your Mac or external drive, the iPhone 15 Pro Max supports USB 3 for 10 gigabit speeds. Although that's not exactly the state of the art, several other phones have the newer 3.2 standard. There's actually not that much new with the iPhone 15 Pro Max's display, with the exception of thinner bezels around the 6.7-inch OLED panel. Apple says you still get 1600 nits of peak brightness and 2000 nits outdoors. In our tests, the Pro Max hit a max of 1550 nits when playing HDR content, and the color reproduction remains strong, which I noticed when watching the trailer for Aquaman 2. The underwater world's colors looked vibrant and the details seemed pretty sharp. The ProMotion display continues to offer 120 Hz refresh rates, so you get smooth scrolling and animations. And with the always on display, you can still check notifications, the time, and more without having to unlock your iPhone. I've been using it for the last year on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I like it, even though it uses some power, and iPhone 13 Pro owners will definitely want to upgrade. Another reason that you might want to upgrade from the iPhone 13 Pro is the Dynamic Island, which sits at the top of the display. I use this all the time for third-party apps like Spotify, United Airlines, and for checking the latest status on my Uber ride. You can see I can always check my status just like that. So even if I go into another app, I could still see my status right here in terms of how far it is away. So it's pretty convenient. The iPhone 15 Pro Max's biggest camera upgrade has it playing catch up to the competition when it comes to zoom, but it surpasses the best camera phones in our low light testing. Sorry, Pixel. Let's start with the zoom. A new Tetra Prism lens achieves a 5x optical zoom, which is a big jump up from the 3x on the previous model and the regular iPhone 15 Pro. In our side-by-side testing with the Galaxy S23 Ultra, the iPhone 15 Pro Max delivered a sharper and warmer pic at 5x. But at 25x digital zoom, the iPhone shot has more noise and less definition than Samsung's. It was a similar story with this photo of an FDNY boat. At 5x, the iPhone 15 Pro Max offers the crispest details both on the boat and in the surrounding water. But at 25x zoom, the iPhone falls behind both the Pixel 7 Pro and especially the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Check out the Never Forget text on the sign. What impresses me most is the iPhone 15 Pro Max's night mode performance. It delivers the most definition in this skull and the text on the book spines. The Pixel and Galaxy look cloudier, especially around the TV. And so what about portraits? I give the edge to the Pixel 7 Pro in this photo taken in Little Island Park, with the New York City skyline in the background. My face and blue shirt pop more. However, the iPhone 15 Pro Max wins with this selfie portrait versus the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Samsung's phone smoothed over my face too much, while you can really make out my eyes and individual strands of hair in the iPhone's pic. The iPhone 15 Pro Max takes a deliciously colorful photo of this fruit tart, but I give the nod to the Pixel 7 Pro because the blueberries have a bit more detail. In this extreme macro close-up of a white poppy flower, the iPhone 15 Pro Max beats the Pixel 7 Pro in the very center of the stigma, although the petals look pretty good on the Pixel pic. Based on my testing, the iPhone 15 Pro Max offers breathtaking video quality, and the 5x zoom lets you get closer to the action than ever before. Check out this 4K clip of a yacht on the Hudson River. As I zoom in, you can make out the reflection of the rippling water on the back window as the reeds sway in the foreground. The iPhone 15 Pro Max also captured crisp footage of a giant St. Bernard in Madison Square Park, surrounded by other pups. Even with the mix of sun and shadows, the video looks clear with even exposure. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has the potential to be the best gaming phone ever, and that's thanks to the new A17 Pro chip. Yes, it offers 10% faster CPU speed, and it's twice as fast at machine learning tasks. But the all-new 6-core GPU is the biggest deal. You can literally play console-quality games, complete with ray tracing tech for the most realistic lighting effects on a phone. On Geekbench, which measures overall performance, the iPhone 15 Pro Max notched a single-core score of 2783 and a multi-core score of 6945. That's a substantial leap from the Galaxy S23 Ultra's Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, and well above the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 15 Pro Max's graphics scores were just as impressive, as it hit 92 frames per second in 3D Mark Wildlife Unlimited. That's about 25% faster than the iPhone 14 Pro Max and beat the Galaxy S23 Ultra's 87 frames per second. We also time how long it takes to transcode a 4K video to 1080p in the Adobe Premiere Rush app. The iPhone 15 Pro Max needed just 24.5 seconds, compared to 30 seconds for the iPhone 14 Pro Max and 39 seconds for the Samsung. The iPhone 15 Pro Max somehow eclipses the epic battery life from the iPhone 14 Pro Max in our battery testing, which involves continuous web surfing over 5G. The new Pro Max lasted a whopping 14 hours and 2 minutes. The previous model endured for 1339. This runtime is also about an hour longer than the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Unfortunately, the iPhone 15 Pro Max still offers the same 20-watt charging speeds. Apple says you should get to 50% in 30 minutes. But we got to only 41%. Other Android phones offer faster charging. For example, the Galaxy S23 Ultra got to 57% in the same amount of time with its 45-watt charger. So what about software? iOS 17 brings a number of enhancements to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and here's some of my favorites. For one, I like that you can leverage the always-on display for standby mode, which turns your iPhone into a pseudo alarm clock and smart display in one. I also like Name Drop for quickly sharing your contact info with people with just a tap. And Live Voicemail will transcribe incoming messages for you in real time so you can decide whether it's worth picking up. The iPhone 15 Pro Max actually isn't just an iterative upgrade for a change. You get a stronger and lighter design from titanium that makes a big difference in everyday use, as well as a smart replacement for the ringer switch in the action button. Based on my camera testing, the iPhone 15 Pro Max arguably offers the best photo quality around, especially in low light, and the bigger 5x zoom is a great upgrade I've been waiting for. Add in the powerful A17 Pro chip for next-gen gaming, the USB-C port, and super long battery life, and you have the best iPhone money can buy. Yes, the iPhone 15 Pro is good, but I'd rather have the longer endurance, bigger screen, and bigger zoom. For more on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, check out my in-depth review on tomsguide.com and follow us at Tom's Guide on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and more. I'm Mark Spoonhour, and I'd love to hear from you about what you think about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Are you going to upgrade? Let us know in the comments.